Welcome to the Lee Schools TV podcast. I'm Rob Spicker, your host for our conversation. Today we're going to be talking about getting involved. Parent engagement in our schools is critical to student success. Engagement can come in many forms, and we're going to go through several of them today to make sure you can be involved or our parents can be involved in their child's education. Our guest today is Kevin Beckman. He's the coordinator of community support and volunteer programs. We thank you for joining us, Kevin. I think the place where we should start really is an explanation about getting involved in your child's education and why that matters. What does it do to be involved as a parent?
I think the most powerful reason parent involvement matters is because children notice, right? So when parents ask about their day, check on assignments, take time to show up at school events, it tells kids your education is valuable and we're in this together. That simple message can change their whole attitude towards learning. So from an academic standpoint, students with engaged parents generally earn better grades, attend more consistently, and are more motivated to set higher goals. But it goes far beyond academics, right? Kids with involved parents are more confident, they develop stronger social emotional skills, and they're more likely to persevere when challenges come up because they know they have a support system, right? It also strengthens relationships with teachers and the school community. When parents are engaged, communication flows better. Problems get solved faster, and schools can better understand a child's individual needs. And finally, it models values, responsibilities, commitment, and the importance of being part of a community. Children learn those lessons by watching what we do. So involvement isn't about doing the work for your child. It's about walking alongside them, showing up, and making sure they know their education is a priority, not only in their home, but also in their family's life.
There's so much a parent can do at home to be involved because a lot of parents are working a job or two, can't get to school necessarily all the time or as much as they would like. And two simple ways to begin, the Focus Parent Portal and School Messenger accounts.
Right. So you're right. Parent engagement starts long before kids attend school events. It really starts at home with communication and awareness, right? And through two of the easiest steps are creating a parent portal account and also signing up for School Messenger. With Focus, parents can see grades, assignments, attendance, all in real time. That means you're not waiting for report cards to find out whether your child's struggling. You can catch it early. Ask questions, work with teachers to get them back on track. It also allows them to celebrate successes right when they happen, which is just as important, right? So School Messenger is equally vital, right? It's the direct line between the school and the families. Whether it's schedule changes, emergencies, upcoming events, or reminders, having that account set up means you're always in the loop. And when parents are informed, children benefit because they come to school prepared and they see that their parents and teachers are on the same page. So those two tools, Focus and School Messenger, are like the foundation of engagement. They make sure parents are connected, informed, and ready to support their child before they even walk onto campus.
So if I am the working parent and I'm wondering, what can I do at home? You mentioned a couple things, but what helps at home? What does an engaged parent at home do?
Sure. This is such an important question because so many parents are balancing work and family, right? And many times they feel guilty that they can't be at the school every day. The truth is, engagement doesn't have to mean being physically present on campus. It's really about being present in your child's learning, right? There are simple ways that parents can do this, even with a full schedule. So checking the Focus Parent Portal once, twice a week keeps them on top of their grades and attendance. You just don't want to miss important updates, right? It's the small daily habits that ask them about their best part of their day, right? Looking at their homework together, setting aside 10 minutes a day just to talk about school is important. That sends a message to the child that they care, right? That's what they need to know. But another big piece is partnering with the teacher, right? Send a quick email to introduce yourself. Even if you can't volunteer, build a connection. You want to build that connection to make sure that you're building a teamwork with them, but you also want to show up at different events or send supplies or work at home, virtually, maybe connecting. But for working parents, engagement's more about consistency than time. But little things done regularly add up to a powerful message, not only for the child, but for their teacher as well.
Right. Just establishing that connection can be so important. When you do have the time, what does a meaningful engagement look like at our school if you're volunteering or showing up at school?
So when parents do have the time to get involved at school, the most meaningful engagement happens usually when it's intentional and collaborative. It's not just about being there, but it's about partnering with the school in ways that have a real impact. That could mean volunteering in a classroom, reading with students, helping a teacher prepare materials. It might be joining a parent-teacher organization, serving on a school advisory council, or helping plan school events. Even small acts like greeting families at drop-off or helping organize a fundraiser can help build a stronger school community, right? But what makes it meaningful is when parents connect their unique skills and interests to the needs of the school, right? So for example, a parent who works in finance, right? They might help with a fundraiser. Someone who has art could go assist in an after-school club. Any of those contributions don't just support the school, but they model for students what it means to use their talents to serve others. And it's not limited to academics, right? Being present at performances, athletic events, celebrations tells children their school life matters to them, and that kind of involvement fosters pride, belonging, and stronger relationships between families and schools. So meaningful engagement isn't about it's more than showing up, but it's showing up in ways that strengthen learning, build community, and support their child, but all children.
If you're interested as a parent, how do you take that first step? Where do you go? Is it as simple as contacting the school or walking into the office and say, I want to help?
So one of the realities we have to acknowledge is that parents want to be involved, right? But there's barriers, work schedules, childcare, transportation, or even just the belief that they don't have the right skills to keep them from volunteering, right? The good news is schools can work with parents to knock those barriers down, right? First, flexibility matters. Offering opportunities at different times of day, or even tasks that can be done from home, right? Open the door for more parents. Something as simple as cutting out classroom materials in the evening, helping with communication from home, still makes a huge impact, right? Second, it's important to help parents see that every skill or talent has value. You don't have to be an educator to make a difference, right? Whether you're good with numbers, love organizing, or just enjoy greeting people with a smile, there's a place for you in a school community, right? And finally, I would say communication is key. Sometimes parents just don't know how to get started. Clear instructions, simple instructions on how to sign up, a warm welcome when they arrive go a long way to breaking down that intimidation factor with them. At the end of the day, volunteering doesn't have to mean hours every week, but start small. Say yes once, right? And you'll quickly see how rewarding it is, not only for their child, but for the school and for them as a parent.
You mentioned the School Advisory Council. We get texts and emails about them as parents. What is the SAC? What does that do?
So the School Advisory Council, often called SAC, is a team of people who represent different parts of school community, right? It could be parents, teachers, staff, students, and in many cases, even community members, right? So the purpose of SAC is to bring all these voices together to talk about the school's goals and how to improve student achievement. One of the council's biggest responsibilities is helping develop the school improvement plan. It's the roadmap for how the school will raise the performance of students, strengthen programs, but also create the best possible environment for learning. SAC members also give input on how certain funds are spent, right? They review new initiatives and provide feedback for parents and community perspective. For parents, SAC is an opportunity to move beyond just the day-to-day and be part of the bigger picture of a school. It's a place where their input helps make decisions not only for their children, but for all children in the school, right? And so when you get those messages about SAC, think about it as an open invitation, right? Your school wants your voice at the table. Even if you can't commit to every meeting, showing up when you can makes a difference.
Involvement, I imagine, is very different depending on the level. Elementary, it's one teacher, for your kid. But then you get to middle and high, it's different classes, different teachers, but more extracurricular. So at each level, can you kind of walk through maybe the different things that would be available to do?
Yeah, absolutely. As children grow, the ways parents can volunteer naturally changes, right? In elementary school, parents are often very visible in classrooms and on campus, reading to students, helping at centers, organizing class parties. Teachers at that stage really benefit from having extra sets of hands, and kids love seeing their parents at school. In middle school, they're striving for a little bit more independence, right? So volunteer shifts a little bit. Parents can be really helpful by supporting more school-wide events like dances, fundraisers, or athletic events. But they may also help with clubs, chaperone field trips, or lend a hand for staff with organizationing tasks. But by high school, parents usually aren't in the classrooms. They're more critical behind the scenes, whether it's chaperoning field trips, band athletic boosters, supporting graduation events, sharing career expertise through mentoring, career days. They're all common, right? But high school is also where parents can play an important role on advisory boards, helping schools prepare students for their next step. So while the look of volunteering shifts from hands-on to behind the scenes, the heart of it stays the same, right? Being present, supporting teachers and students, and showing kids that school is a priority.
Listening to you, it comes to me that really, if you're interested in it, there's probably a way you can bring that to the school, or that they've got a program where your interest is going to align with their needs.
Absolutely. Yeah, that it sure will.
Mm-hmm. What are the requirements to volunteer? Is there anything special that stands out?
So absolutely. So sometimes parents overthink volunteering as if they need to have a certain skill set or a lot of time to give. The truth is if you're interested in something and the school has a program or club or an activity connected to it, then their help is needed. For example, maybe you like gardening and the school has a gardening program, or maybe you enjoy sports, right? And the school has a sports that needs booster help. But maybe you're in technology, art, reading, you name it. There's usually always a place for that at school. What's great about this approach is that parents are more likely to stay engaged when they're doing something they enjoy, right? But it also means schools get to tap into the diverse talents and passions of the families, which makes programs stronger and more meaningful to students. So yes, volunteer can be as simple as bring what you love, and chances are the school can use it.
Yeah, and are there requirements you need to worry about, or is it simply, at least on that front level, that you're able to help if you're willing to help?
Yeah, so the requirements for parents is making sure that schools know who's coming onto campus and making sure that students are safe, right? So the School District of Lee County has parents complete a volunteer application, which collects basic information, lets the school know where they'd like to help. Then there's usually a background check, right? Depending on the type of level that they're doing, it might be a basic level 1 screening, which is checking against the National Sex Offender Registry, or a more thorough level 2, which is fingerprinting, which is a finger-based check, especially if the role involves unsupervised contact with students, right? Like one-on-one tutoring or mentoring, chaperoning field trips, volunteering, athletic coach, transporting students with their personal vehicle. Once that's done, schools typically provide some orientation with training so parents understand their expectations, safety procedures, and how to sign in and out of school, right? From there, they're ready to volunteer. It's important for parents to know that the process isn't meant to discourage participation. It's in place to protect students, right? And to make sure schools are welcoming, safe, and they have trusted adults inside them. Once they're in the system, it's pretty easy to stay active year after year.
What difference does it make to the school to have an engaged parent group? They really get to help set a culture, don't they?
So parent engagement doesn't just impact individual students, it changes the whole school environment. When parents are involved, you can feel the difference on campus. There's more trust between families and staff, there's better communication, and there's a stronger sense of community. Academically, research is clear. Engaged parents are linked to higher student performance, right? Better attendance, greater motivation, but equally important, parents can influence school culture. School where parents are visible and working alongside teachers feels more welcoming. Students see that their families and their schools are connected together, and that creates pride and belonging inside the school. Parents also help model how we treat one another, right? Whether it's volunteering, serving on advisory councils, or simply just showing up for events. Engaged families reinforce values of respect, collaboration, and responsibility. That energy spreads. It sets the tone for how students view their school and themselves. So yeah, parents absolutely have a role in shaping school culture. Their engagement creates that partnership that lifts everyone. Students, teachers, and the broader community.
Mm-hmm. You touched on it a little bit. You have the new requirement that some volunteers need to get a fingerprint and have that background check. So again, let's go a little deeper into that, but who does it apply for? What is it meant to do? How does it help protect students?
Yeah. So this is a new state requirement, and it's important for parents to understand that both the why and the who, right? Mm-hmm. So starting in January 2026, Florida law requires that some volunteers complete a level 2 fingerprint-based background check. This is a more thorough screening than the basic level 1 check because it runs fingerprints through the FBI, the FDLE, and the Agency for Healthcare Administration Clearinghouse. Who does this apply to? Many volunteers that have unsupervised access to students and in higher trust roles, right? For example, chaperoning, as I said, mentors, tutoring, volunteers assisting with extracurricular programs like volunteer coach, where supervision is not always direct, right? So, but for most other roles, helping in the classroom under teacher supervision or working with groups of students, a level 1 is usually just enough, right? But the purpose isn't about putting up barriers for parents, but it's about balancing open access for parents, but with the responsibility that we all share to keep children safe. The school district will provide clear instructions on how to do the fingerprinting, and once approved, they'll be clear district-wide, not just for one school. It may feel like an extra step, but it's really about ensuring peace of mind that the adults trusted in these special roles have been thoroughly screened to protect the child.
And this requirement comes with a cost, so that is kind of a barrier. Are there ways to help parents overcome the barriers that might be in place if they're worried about this?
Sure. So it's natural for them to wonder if fingerprints could create barriers, but the most common concern is time, cost, and whether the process feels intimidating, right? So some parents may think, I want to help, but this feels like one more hurdle. The important message to share is, yes, it's a change, but it's not meant to keep parents out. It's meant to keep kids safe. So schools and districts can play a big role in breaking down those barriers by making the process as simple and as supportive as possible. Mm-hmm. So that means we'll be offering clear step-by-step instructions so parents don't feel lost. Parents and community members will be able to schedule fingerprinting appointments at convenient times and at multiple locations as options. Being covered to be a level 2 volunteer for the next 5 years, barring no criminal activities that would preclude them from being an approved volunteer, and reassuring parents that once they're fingerprinting and cleared, it applies to district-wide, not at just that school. But it's not something they have to redo for every school or every event. It's that one and done. But we also need to remind them that there's still plenty of volunteer opportunities that only require that level 1. So if a parent isn't able to do that level 2, they can still be actively engaged with their child's school. In short, the way to overcome the barriers is through communication, support, and flexibility. When families understand the why and are given help with the how, most will still choose to get involved.
Yeah. Before we finish up, volunteering, helping out, it's not just for individuals. Businesses can be partners with schools, right? So what can a business do, and how would you direct them to maybe get involved?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Volunteering isn't just about families. Businesses and community organizations play a huge part in supporting schools. And it can take many different forms, right? So some businesses offer time and talents by having employees volunteer to mentor, read with students, or even speak at career days. Others provide resources, right? Things like supplies, sponsorship for events, donations that help fund extracurricular programs. Many businesses form long-term partnerships with us where they support projects throughout the year, right? From interns to providing scholarships. But for schools, these partnerships are powerful. They give students access to real-world learning and showing how their education connects to future careers. For businesses, it's an opportunity to invest in the next generation of workers and leaders while giving back to the community. As far as getting involved, the process is pretty simple. Businesses can contact the school directly. There's a business partnership application form on our district website. It's under the volunteer icon. They click on that. It'll outline how they can help. And from there, the school matches them with the opportunities that fit their interest as well as their capacity. The bottom line is, if it's time, talent, or treasure, businesses have so much to offer in our schools. And when schools, families, and local businesses work together, the impact on students is tremendous.
Yeah, last word before we go. What's your word of advice to a parent, a business owner, about getting involved and wanting to get started? What would you say to them?
The one message I'd share with parents that want to help, that don't know where to start, is start small. Start where you are. Volunteering doesn't have to be a big formal commitment. It can be as simple as checking your kid's backpack every night. It can be reading with them or emailing the teacher and ask, how can I help? Right? What can I do to support you? Every school has different needs, but the easiest way to get plugged in is to ask. Ask the front office, ask the child's teacher, or ask the volunteer coordinator at the school. They can point them in the right direction. Sometimes it's helping with a book fair. Other times it's sending in supplies or lending their expertise for a career day. What matters most is just showing up, even in just those small ways. Children notice that, and they feel supported when their parents are involved. And schools do well once they are. And once parents realize they take that first step, you don't have to have all the answers. You just have to be there, right? My advice is, don't wait for that perfect time or the perfect role. Just take that first step, and the rest will fall into place.
Good advice. Kevin, thanks for joining us. Appreciate all the expertise on getting involved in our schools. The part of parent engagement, it does make a difference to our kids. Thank you, everybody who's been listening and watching today. We're back again next month with another edition of the Lee Schools TV Podcast.